From one set of gritty New York streets to the next, today's filmmaker has given us some truly fascinating looks at the Big Apple. Yes, we are in season 3 of Oscar Rewind, and today I am looking at A24's Good Time. Co-written by Ronald Bronstein and one of the film's co-directors, Josh Safdie, he directed it alongside his brother Benny. Premiering at Cannes in 2017, the film released in theaters that August. What's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike here, and it is a new episode of Oscar Rewind, where I look back at the films of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the throwbacks. We're now in Chapter 3, Early Visions. This chapter focuses on earlier work from the other Oscar-nominated directors and those who directed Oscar-nominated titles. Today, we look at the film that brought the Safdie Brothers to a much wider audience before Josh this year became a 4-time Oscar nominee for Marty Supreme. So, if you've never seen Good Time, here's a quick spoiler-free setup. Connie, played by Robert Pattinson, has spent most of his life looking out for his younger brother Nick, played by Benny Safdie. Nick has some developmental disabilities, and when we first meet them, he is in a court-ordered therapy session that Connie abruptly interrupts. Convinced that he knows what's best for his brother, Connie pulls him away, and the two set off for what seems like a very simple plan. Rob a bank, use the money to start a better life. Well, as you might expect, things go wrong almost immediately. A dye pack hidden within the cash explodes during their getaway, which triggers a chain of events that leaves Nick getting arrested and Connie on the run through New York City. Desperate to get his brother out before anything bad can happen, Connie spends the night bouncing from one increasingly risky situation to another, scrambling for money, favors, and any solution that he can find. But every decision that Connie makes a bigger problem. Whether he's manipulating his girlfriend Corey, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, or lying to strangers like Crystal, played by Talia Lennox Webster, or talking his way out of trouble, he keeps digging himself into a deeper hole. Then, after a failed attempt to rescue Nick from a hospital, Connie unexpectedly crossed paths with a recently released criminal named Ray, played by Buddy Duress. When Ray mentions a hidden stash of cash connected to an old crime, Connie sees what might finally be his chance to solve everything, and the two set off into the New York night, trying to chase this opportunity. But given the night he's had, Connie, come on. The Safdie brothers, look, they have a style all of their own. And it's this on-the-ground, rough aesthetic that genuinely seems to work for the stories they want to tell, even if they don't always land. With Good Time, there's a bit too much absurdity and too much going on. While we're following Connie's journey, we see him interact with a lot of different people, and not all of the threads that are set up that are interesting get the payoffs that they deserve. Given that we're mainly to follow this one chaotic night, there's a lot, and it doesn't always work, and some of it's contrived. And certain plots, like the one with Jennifer Jason Leigh, who I'm a fan of her, she's absolutely wasted here, gets roughly disregarded. The setup with Webster's Crystal and her family is interesting, but again, goes by pretty fast. And then we get to the third act with Pattinson and Duress, which certainly raises the tension and suspense, but just pushes the film further into chaos that you're not quite sure where it's going. Where it absolutely shines, here's what I will say, is Pattinson. You know, this was one of the first post-Twilight roles where he wanted to be less the pretty boy, and it's definitely accomplished. His fast-talking, devil-may-care Connie is magnetic to watch, and not just because of those giant eyes. He matches the energy of the film and the chaos, but again, it gets to be a bit too much when we get an even more over-the-top duress in Ray, and we rush to our somewhat predictable and maybe somewhat satisfying conclusion, depending. In addition to co-starring, I will say Benny Safdie also edited the film alongside his writing partner, and the often used rapid pace keeps you moving. Sean Price Williams' cinematography matches it well, but again, so many plots to thread, it's a little exhausting. Maybe not a good time, maybe an okay time. Now, let's talk the box office and the awards. After the film's run, it made $2,026,499 domestically, $1,259,601 internationally, giving it a worldwide take of $3,286,100. Critically, the film sits with a 91% tomato meter from 237 reviews and an 82% popcorn meter from over 5,000 audience reviews. Award season-wise, some highlights of the over 50 nods and wins include a Palme d'Or nod and a Soundtrack Award win at Cannes, where it premiered, 3 Gotham Awards nods, Picture, Audience Award, and Pattinson for Actor, and it had 5 Independent Spirit nods, Male Lead for Pattinson, Supporting Male for Benny Safdie, Supporting Female for Webster, a Director nominee for the Safdie Brothers, and Editing. Now, the film did introduce the brothers to a bigger audience, and while I felt this energy and focus was a lot better achieved in Uncut Gems, I appreciated what we had here in Good Time. While in the last few years, the brothers have ventured into their separate work, I don't know, maybe they're a better team together. Time will still tell. They've each only really had one solo breakout. Josh, a little more successful with Marty Supreme than Benny was with The Smashing Machine. But look, we're here to talk about Good Time. For me, Pattinson, 5-star performance. The film, 3 stars. But you don't have to agree with me. Let me know. If you would like to catch Good Time, it is available for digital rental or purchase on most platforms. There's no streaming information at this time. And that's where we're going to leave it for episode 21 of season 3 of Oscar Rewind. If you enjoyed this episode and want to check out the others, make sure you subscribe to the channel, check back into the playlist, and let me know in the chat, which Safdie Brothers film do you prefer? Good Time or Uncut Gems? Please follow me on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd, and check out my website, cinephilemike.com, for more exclusive cinematic content. I'm going to see everybody for the next rewind, but until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.